welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 169. As always, you can give this podcast a listen on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you listen to your podcast at. We are probably there. Shout out to iHeartRadio. Look us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Serial Sensei. You can follow my co-host Theanticool on Twitter at GC Zeus. And speaking of my co-host, I'm once again joined with the Theanticool for another week. What's going on, man?
We got to witness one of the greatest fights of all time last night, as well as a pretty okay strawweight fight. So that was pretty good.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Yesterday was it was a good time. It was a good time.
It was a weird time.
You know, it's MMA though. It's not MMA if it doesn't get weird at some point.
But with each fight, that just surpassed like the previous fight, because like it was like a fantastic night overall. Like basically every fight in the card delivered, in some way, shape, or form. But like all the way up to the co-main event, it was one of the best events. Probably in like the history of the UFC, like top to bottom.
Yeah, this is definitely up there. And
then shit went sideways, upside down.
Like, I'm not gonna say disaster struck, but just something struck. I don't know. Well, really, nothing. Actually, you know what? Nothing struck. Really.
It was like you were at like a really good party, and then 1 o'clock hits.
You start looking at the door.
Well, like you start looking around, and it's just like random people like who weren't there like an hour ago.
Yeah, and you don't know any of them, and you try to give them a chance, but you find out like, nah, these guys, this isn't a good time anymore.
They're all just kind of like just hard posing in the corner.
Yeah,
it's just really awkward.
Yeah, so you have to leave. You just gotta go.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm out.
Oh man, but yeah, it's been a while. I haven't recorded since what was that last pay-per-view?
The one where we got angry that Dominic Reyes is not the champion.
Yeah, that one, yeah, that did happen. That did happen. But we're back, and boy did we pick a good card to come back to. But real quick before we get into all of those shenanigans, always got to shout outs to the listeners. Shout outs to the people who are still listening to episodes, even though we haven't put out an episode in almost 20 something, almost nearly 30 days. So shout outs to you guys. Top cities for the week. Number 1, Mountain View, California. Number 2, Dallas, Texas. Number 3, Atlanta, Georgia. Got a steep drop off after that. Everybody's pretty much tied with Atlanta. Number 4, Vinicius, Lithuania. Number 5, Barisal, Bangladesh. We got Ito. Lord, I'm about to kill this. Ito Bikoke, Canada. Gateshead, UK. San Francisco, California. Linwood, California. You know, I see you, Cairo, Egypt. You're at the very bottom, but I see you. Brooklyn, New York. Y'all still here. Bronx, New York. Auckland, New Zealand. But shout out to everybody who's still been listening to episodes, apparently. So, appreciate you guys. Share with a friend, co-worker, fight fan.
It's funny that Lithuania is in our top 5 because one of their fighters showed out on Friday.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, they knew we were going to talk about it, or they were hoping we would talk about it.
Yep.
So we got you. We got you covered. But shout out to you guys. Keep supporting, retweeting, all that good stuff. I guess real quick before we start the episode, just as a subtle reminder, after this episode, we'll be on hiatus until
April
249, which is April what?
12?
It's like, I thought it was like the 18th. It's like
I
know it's mid-April sometime.
18th.
There we go. So we'll be on hiatus until the 18th. Probably record on the 19th. That'll be the last pay-per-view that we cover, and then hopefully we can get Joey and Stoves on that episode, and then we'll do one more episode after that, bonus episode, and then the doors of the podcast will be closing for an indefinite time.
I mean, as a mall dojo, I feel like a 3-year run is that's proper, you know?
Yeah, we lasted longer than Sears. They're all going out of business.
Yeah, exactly.
Sears is getting out of here. JC Penney probably isn't too far behind. You know, we lasted pretty long.
What we're saying is it's the retail apocalypse's fault that we're not doing this.
But I did
want to support Toys R Us. That's where all our business came from.
Oh man, it's crazy. I used to work there. It's my alma mater of jobs, so to speak. Once upon a time. Shout outs to the truck crew unloading trucks at 6 in the morning, man.
Make sure you put that you were a manager on your resume moving forward.
That should have been.
Well, you should. You
not good. They can't check.
That's the amazing thing. You just know when to tell them that you weren't.
Yeah, I managed something while I was there. I definitely managed something.
I mean, you managed to go to work.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, gotta update the resume. But I wanted to say real quick, 'cause I don't know if we ever discussed this on air. Even though that this podcast will be coming to a close, that there are definitely 2 fights, I think in particular, that will draw us out of retirement, should they ever happen. One being Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford.
Yep.
And the other, which seems like it might not ever happen, but if Tenshin Nasukawa and Takeru can ever, if we can ever figure out this whole
K1 debacle rivalry.
Yeah, if we can ever figure that out, and that happens, the microphones are getting dusted off. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
I find it hilarious that neither one of the fights that would bring us back are MMA fights.
Well, you know what though, because the one that it would have been Tony Habib for me. Like had that would have been my answer to that. Like had that fight not been a thing, that would have been the fight for MMA that would have got me back. But we're allegedly getting it. Knock on wood. That's not wood I knocked on. This definitely isn't made of wood. But knock on something that we're gonna get that. Because I need that in my life. I think we've all been waiting a long time for that fight.
So I like how we're closing out on that fight, and it kind of feels like we're just quitting in protest of Jose Aldo and Cejudo.
I mean, we might end up getting to that later. We might get to that fight later. God. But let's go ahead and kick this off. As far as the show rundown, we'll start with the What's on Your Mind segment. I kind of like the format we did last time. So after What's on Your Mind, I think we just jump right into the card. And then after we discuss the card, we'll do some fight announcements, which there are plenty of since the last time we recorded, and a few important ones. Get into some news, then we'll do fight recommendations, and then we'll be out of here. There'll be some random ramblings in between. You know how it happens, but it's pretty much how the show will go. So, if you have anything on your mind, the Theanticool, what is on your mind for this week?
All I have on my mind, because we didn't get to talk about it when it happened, so I'm gonna jam it into this section, is Deontay Wilder blaming his 45-pound suit costume from his walkout with Tyson Fury in their rematch on his eventual knockout loss.
Lord.
That is, bar none, the best excuse I've ever seen a fighter give. That is better than Nick Diaz saying that Jake Shields and Gilbert Melendez were too tired to help him prepare for GSP.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that was one of those fights that happened. Like, I kind of wanted to talk about that one. That was a night. That was a fun night.
That was an amazing way to end Black History Month.
I was conflicted because the black guy didn't win, but at the same time, I bet on the white guy. He got me $20, so I don't know what that's. I don't know what that says about me. But hey, man.
It means you can read how combat sports works, and it's always in the worst way possible. But also sometimes in the best way possible at the same time. It's amazing. Yeah. This is why we love this. This is why we do this.
Yeah, that fight was a spectacle for sure. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. We'll see how this third matchup goes.
And I can't imagine it goes any better.
So is his new suit gonna be like made of like plastic? Like it's gonna be like a styrofoam cutout of what he would normally wear?
He's just gonna wear the mask. He's gonna go back to wearing the Mardi Gras mask.
Yeah. Just get your shredder mask on and just we'll see.
I'll give it up for the dude. The rapper dude, because like his song was like it was but like he was coherent, which is more than I can say for literally any other rapper who walks out with a fighter.
That was that dude D Smoke, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I keep hearing about him. I've not given him a listen yet. I've actually heard that he is actually really good. So I'm gonna have to give him a listen.
But like he's better than fucking Lil Wayne. Walking out to the ring with what was it, Floyd Mayweather?
Probably.
He's just barely audible. Yeah, he's obviously just high and drunk out of his mind.
Yeah, the rappers coming down with fighters is kind of not even just rappers, just anybody who like live performs it. I don't know. For me, it doesn't really hit the same.
Who was the dude who performed for Chad Mendes when he walked out against McGregor? Was it Brad Paisley? It was some random country singer.
I don't know. I'll erase that from my memory. I honestly forgot that was even a thing. Well, it might have helped a little bit. He did, go out to proceed to put on a great fight. Well, that was...
He also got knocked out.
It happens. It happens. But yeah, the whole music with the intro thing for me doesn't really hit. Doesn't really hit.
The one that is the most like makes you question, like the one that raised the most questions for me, and I don't know if you remember this. Did you ever watch Michael McDonald in Tachi Palace fights?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so his brother fought for Tachi Palace. He fought Francisco Rivera back in the day. And everybody knows who like about Mayday. Like he is very, very evangelical. Bragged about not getting laid until he got married. Like loves doing carpentry more than he does fighting, despite having the talent for fighting. His brother is nothing like him. His brother walked out with his friend, who is this like white boy hardcore gangster rapper. And it's just like, I want to know what this family was like growing up.
I feel like that explains McDonald better. Hold up, is his brother older or younger?
I'm looking at it right now. Well, it doesn't give me an age, but he's bigger.
I feel like if he's older, that explains why Michael McDonald's the way he is, because he probably saw that and was like, "Oh no, we can't go that way."
But we're both going to be a mid-bay
fighter. Hey, man, he panned. He took the hard left.
It is worth noting that Brad McDowell started fighting when he was 11 as like an amateur, which I didn't know was a thing in the United States. So, whatever.
Jeez. There you go. Step up your live performances. Or just don't do them.
Oh my god, someone uploaded it to YouTube. Oh, I thought it was lost forever.
Nothing dies on the internet. Nothing dies on the internet.
I mean, we...
Shout outs to Deontay Wilder and that suit.
So I'm mistaking. The rapper was Mexican, but he also has the skinniest legs and the longest jean shorts I've ever seen on a human being.
Mm. Well, wait, what year was that?
It's 2011.
No, it makes sense. You know, fashion was a little different back then. But shout out to Wilder in that suit.
He has like 20 people walking out.
Did he win?
No.
Oh, no. You can't come down with 20 people and get knocked out.
I'm pretty sure this is the Cisco fight.
God.
This is August 2011. Yeah, no, he got knocked out in 40 seconds.
Jesus. The 20 people should have jumped him. Like,
it's like, yeah, you just threw dirt on all of our names.
God, that's terrible. That is terrible.
What is we got we got somebody who's always just like clutch when it comes to the walkouts. Last night with Israel Adesanya walking out with those two women throwing rose petals at his feet. What are some of the other just like worst walkouts?
I don't know who else.
Because like we only ever remember the good ones. Like remember Fight Night's Global 50, the Fedor Maldonado card. Was that one? Where we had what's her face? She's in is she in the UFC or is she in Invicta? The woman who walked out in the Cinderella carriage. And then the one fighter who walked out with the singer being suspended in the air, being dressed like being dressed in an inflatable spider balloon thing.
Yeah, I'll always just go back to James Tahuna. That's always my default. I appreciated that intro a lot.
Yeah,
man. Shouts to the intros. Shouts to Deontay Wilder in your suit.
Shouts to Stamp Fairtex, who great intro.
Oh yeah, she kills it. She kills it every time.
But she lost her last fight with Jeanette Todd.
She still got a belt. She'll be all right.
Yeah. She wants 3 of them, so she's back to 1.
Yeah, she's still young. She got plenty of time.
I went on forever. What's on your mind, Sensei? What's eating at you? What is consuming your every molecule of thought?
I've got a few things. I can go positive or I could go negative. Well, my positive isn't really like that long of a... No, I'm gonna have to go negative. We have to talk about it because it's a worldly topic. I ain't gonna spend too much long on this, but this whole coronavirus situation. Was that a thing the last time we recorded?
No.
Just came out of nowhere. Like, just woke up and coronavirus, boom, here you go.
Yeah. So like, where is it going? This is an excellent study in just how interconnected the world is, because this started in I was gonna say small city, but Wuhan is comparatively big next to like most American cities. But it started in a city in China and has now enveloped the entire world. Kind of like World War Z. So it's amazing.
My comments about it, it's not really about the virus itself. It's about everything surrounding the virus and things that I've noticed.
that our society isn't set up for a global pandemic like this, and that those of us who don't have a shit ton of money are probably fucked.
I was gonna say I've noticed that it's reinforced and confirmed something that I already knew. That a lot of these people just are nasty out here.
Oh, that's true.
Like a lot of y'all have been living really foul for the longest time, and I've always known this. I don't know if you ever had an office job.
Oh yeah.
Office people are nasty. If you never worked in an office job, well, let me give you a quick little insight into like office job culture. I mean, and this probably spans to other businesses and areas of work too, but office people are like a special breed. Like, it's a very well-known thing that there are people in the office who just don't wash their hands. Like, will flat out just go to a stall, handle their business. They might sprinkle a little water on their fingertips, but there's no soap applied. They just walk right out. Like nothing happened. Like they didn't do anything. And now, I don't know how it is like where you live, but, you know, you go to the store and like hand sanitizer and somehow toilet paper. all of the cleaning utensils and supplies.
I don't get that one. Like,
yeah,
is that
I don't either.
Was that like a thing by the CDC being like, make sure you have toilet paper on hand?
I don't know. I don't know how the Scott toilet paper is supposed to save you from the coronavirus, but
I think people aren't leaving their houses and they're like, maybe I can deal without food, but I need my toilet paper.
And it's like, it took y'all, it took this kind of scare to realize like, oh, we probably really need to wash our hands and clean. You nasty, just
gross,
filthy, just dirty scum humans. Just, y'all are nasty. That's what this whole thing has made me realize. But I try to be optimistic. I hope if you're one of those people who it took you for this to wash your hands, I hope you keep the trend going like after this is all done and said and over with. You know, after we hopefully eventually figure this all out and life returns to normal. Just keep up the trend of washing your hands. You should have been already, but if this is what it took to get you to do it, whatever, man. But just keep doing it.
Yeah, like as somebody who works with kids, and like our bathrooms are always locked because they're strictly for kids. And because they're like single stall, and you don't want like an adult hiding in there. So we lock the bathrooms, and like when they need to use them, they have to come up to us to ask them, or to ask for the key, and we have to unlock the door for them. Like teaching fucking kids to wash their hands.
Yes. Because
like none of them ever do. And if they do, it's literally just with water, and then they don't wipe them. And it's gross as hell.
It's nasty. It's really nasty. And last bit before I close this, I just did some random looking last night. I don't really travel that much, but I was just looking up plane tickets just to see. Bro, plane tickets are crazy cheap right now. Bro, I could fly to Atlanta today for like $70 if I wanted to.
See, that's the move.
I could fly to Belize for like $160. Like, I have no reason to go, but if I wanted to, the option is there.
I'm gonna look up prices. I'm gonna look up what you call it for
Bro,
Miami.
You can go to LA for like less than $200.
Yeah, like you heard. So the funny thing is, like, there was a story that came out that there are a lot of airlines in like Europe and I guess America that are literally flying empty planes because they need to keep their slots, like their time slots. So they're literally just flying empty planes because people are canceling their flights. And it's just like, I mean, yeah, they still gotta fill the plane, so like, it's weird.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of tempting.
It is.
And I'll put this out there. I ain't gonna say I don't care about this virus. I've survived a lot in my life. I'm not about to let this be the thing that stops me.
I mean, it's this. The virus disproportionately hurts people over the age of like 65.
Yeah.
I think that's where like the mortality rate really spikes.
I eat my vegetables. I do my push-ups. I'm in pretty good health. I go to the doctor regularly. I feel pretty confident. I might have to hop on one of these little $70 flights. Just take like a little weekend trip somewhere. But I'll say all that to say, man, wash your hands, man. Stop being nasty. Wash your hands. Soap and water. Soap and water. Emphasize the soap and the water. Please, wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your damn hands. Alright. That's pretty much all I got. So, let's just jump right into the thick of things, the shenanigans, the greatness that was UFC 248, which went down last night, headlined by Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero. What to say about this fight? Well, I'll say off top, I'm not too surprised that this fight went the way it did. I'm a little disappointed, but at the same time, like, not really. We've talked about Romero before on this podcast many a times, that he is known to flat out just take rounds off. If you go back and watch, that's where my disappointment came in. Like, if you go back and watch the Whitaker fights, like, he might take the first like 2 rounds off, and then in like round 3, he'll start to kick it up, and then like by round 4, he's in full gear, like he's going. So I was disappointed a little bit in that aspect, that he never turned it on at all. Like, he did just kind of take the whole fight off. I mean, like, he tried to explode a couple times. Like, I think he caught Adesanya with like a hard left, or threw a hard left, and, you know, tagged him a little bit. But like, there were not really many moments in this fight at all. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to grasp onto. But at the same time, like, I think I had such a high off this card that I almost didn't care. Like, my main event, I got what I wanted out of my main event. Zhang gang in the building. We'll get to that in a second. But my main event delivered. So this for me was just like icing on the cake if it happened to go well. And it was just kind of an average, timid kickboxing match, I guess. But not surprising. Romero is not, if you don't really like heavily engage him, he's content to just kind of chill out for a little bit. Adesanya is not the guy who gets into wild brawls and, you know, or even so, like, you kind of, if you want Adesanya to open up, you kind of have to come forward to him, like kind of like how Gastelum did. Like, he came forward and gave reason to Adesanya to really have to fire back, because Gastelum was like always in his face, throwing hands, throwing combinations. But neither one of them in this fight, when they met each other, they both were just kind of chilling. Just, you know, I'm going to throw a leg kick here and there. He did bust up Romero's leg pretty bad, but it just wasn't a whole lot going on. But at the same time, I don't know. It was what it was. Like, I'm honestly not really too mad at this. I'm actually more confused at some of the aftermath. Like, I saw people trying to blame Adesanya for how boring the fight was. And I was kind of confused at that, because in my logic, if you're the challenger and you're trying to take the belt, you definitely can't sit back and just not do anything. Like,
you know what? 9 times out of 10, I would agree with you. But Israel Adesanya called for this fight, and he called it with the specific intent of knocking Yoel Romero out.
It's true. This is true.
So, like, I'm not gonna blame him for realizing that Romero hits hard as fuck and is like impossible to read, and then just closing to a decision. A decision he might not have even earned, if we're being honest. But like, I can't be mad at people for being upset with him Like you called out a dude who was on a 2-fight losing streak. Even though I thought he had a strong argument for winning both of those fights, Romero, that is. And then you go out there and you look tepid. So like, I can't be mad at people for being mad at him, but like the people asking that the UFC cut Romero and Adesanya, like y'all need to calm the fuck down. It's the fight game. This happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And
we've honestly seen worse.
Oh hell yeah.
We've seen much worse than this. We've seen way worse.
Oh, 100%. But
Yes.
you're 100% on Izzy. Like he like this is how like a lot of kickboxers are. Like if they get tagged, and then they slow the fight down, to like a pace where they can try to win it. They don't really retch it up if they don't have to. Like we laugh at Yoel Romero literally just standing in one spot, rocking back and forth for like the entire opening minute of this fight.
He did that little shimmy. I appreciated that.
Yeah, but like he broke out the 52 block style for this one. Lots of voguing, lots of arm waving. My favorite was he was getting leg kicked in like the 4th or 5th round, and literally, you know how like your body just shifts to the side because it's trying to catch itself.
Right.
He swayed his arms like he was doing the wave. Yeah, that was great. But like Izzy works best when he can get you to like bite on his feints and like stick you at range, and this is that like Romero will no sell everything. He doesn't care. He's fucking weird. And he's content to just stare at you for like 25 minutes.
I feel like it was one of those fights where they both had like the same like, well, he's not going to engage and I'm not going to engage. And Adesanya's probably thinking, well, I'm the champ, so they're probably going to score these rounds for me. And Yoel's like, well, I exploded one time in this round, so I'm going to get the score. Yeah. And everybody was just content to just kind of just, we just going to chill out because I think I did enough. And I don't know. That's what we got.
Well, like from Romero's perspective, like he's a guy who finds out how he's going to fight the fight in the middle of the fight. Like he didn't start the Luke Rockhold fight pressuring him, but by like the 3rd round, he's like, I'm just gonna walk him down and see what happens. He didn't start the second Whitaker fight until like, he realized that like, oh, if I take 2 rounds off, I can fight really hard in the last 3 rounds. And then like the Paul Costa fight, like he didn't start that fight a counterpuncher, but by the end of it, he was countering in combination off the back foot, which is wild because he ended up hurting Costa. Like this is a dude like. But like here against Adesanya, Adesanya stayed so far outside, rarely if ever tried to close the pocket. Like there was nothing. Like there was just nothing for him to read either. It was like it was a bizarro world fight, which made it interesting but not particularly fun.
Yeah, it was a little. I ain't gonna say tense. I was waiting kind of for a moment that I thought was eventually going to happen, and I never got that moment. But yeah, like you said, like these fights just happen sometimes. You can place blame on both parties, I guess. No, you made a good point about Izzy did call out for this fight, so I guess you would expect him to kind of have a little more oomph. But yeah, neither one of them had the oomph that I think we were looking for. But it is what it is. I'm pretty sure the Paulo Costa fight, if we get that, will be pretty fun. Why does Paulo Costa look like a Brazilian Johnny Bravo wearing that shirt with that hair that he had? What was going on with
Oh, wait, hold up. Did you see that picture of him with one of the Paul brothers?
Yes. And his arms were like...
His arms were bigger than my fucking head.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think I tweeted Koeka Carnage about it. Like, he has my legs, but it's carrying around Eddie Hall's arms.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. He is built like a cartoon character. It is weird.
Like, he's out here. He's chasing Stipe, man. Fuck it, give me Paul Costa for Stipe.
I don't know what he's doing. Test his arms. USADA needs to test his arms.
Just a lot of bench curls, a lot of bench pressing.
God.
No squats.
Yeah, no squats,
No deadlifts,
no deadlifts, no box jumps, nothing that involves the legs really moving anywhere.
It's like I punch with my arms. Why would I need my legs?
But yeah, it's not really a lot to break down in this main event. Like, it was just kind of a very timid kickboxing match where both dudes were just spent the whole fight kind of reading each other, but nobody really jumped the gun to really do anything. And we got what we got. Izzy retained his title, so, congrats to him. I feel like this fight was karma for giving Romero the title shot coming off of 2 losses. That's my theory. MMA gods came to enact some punishment. We couldn't have too much. We were having way too much fun tonight, and they just...
Like, halfway through the prelims, I realized these fights are just getting better. So that means the Yo Romero fight is going to be just nothing but weird shenanigans. Because that's how this goes. You can't have every single fight be great.
Because literally the fights did get exponentially, but especially the main card, Oliver Griffin was a good fight, and then Magny puts on his performance against the Leech. Dariush and Drakkar was just madness. Zhang and Joanna was an instant classic. And it's all right, where do we go from here? How does this night get better?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It gets weirder.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Shout out to Israel Adesanya. He still got the belt, so I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Hopefully him and Paulo Costa get the throwdown. I hope Costa keeps the Johnny Bravo look going. It's weird, but I don't know. We'll see. But moving on. Shout outs to all of the Zhang gang affiliates all over the world. I was really happy on Twitter to see how deep we were, to see the support, to see the togetherness we had. I felt like I was part of a family. Like a lot of us were on the same wavelength. I appreciated it. But Weili Zhang, Strawweight Championship versus Joanna and Jedrzejczyk. Man, this was definitely one of those fights that I wasn't scoring while I was watching. I was trying to score it, but I was like, bro, I don't know who the hell's winning this fight. I have no idea who's winning this fight. I think the only round that I felt halfway comfortable scoring was the 5th round. That I gave to Zhang. That was the only round I felt comfortable scoring.
I mean, I scored the fight during, but I was also in the mindset of every single one of these rounds could be wrong.
Yes. This was a rare instance where I rewatched the fight muted, and I got more confused. The muting did not help rewatching this at all.
A lot of that was just because a lot of the force you could hear on Zhang's punches.
Yeah.
This was what a fight! This is easily one of the best UFC title fights ever. Easily one of the best MMA fights ever.
So far, this is probably fight of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely fight of the year.
This is the bar for the rest of the year, and honest to God, I'm not sure anybody's gonna reach it. It's just instant classic. And props to Joanna. She ate like a lot. Like, we've seen her rocked and we've seen her dropped by like Carolina Kowalkiewicz and Claudia Gadelha. Obviously, she got knocked out by Rose, but she managed to avoid getting hit clean in the rematch. But she got tagged here, like, and not just once, but like repeatedly
multiple times
throughout the entirety of the 25 minutes. That right hand from Zhang, from when she would decide to either throw it off a counter, especially off of Joanna's jab, but or off a kick, but like just when she decided to just throw the right hand, because Joanna was just planting her feet at in range, she connected with it so often, so cleanly, and like you could hear that thud when it landed. The thing that probably won it for Zhang was the power differential. Like Joanna hits hard, but like she is not a one shot. Not like she is an cumulative striker.
Right.
The closest I think she's ever come to one-shotting anybody in the UFC anyway. I know she one-shotted Tara La Rosa in Cage Warriors, but in the UFC, I think the closest she got was when she knocked down Gadelha in their first fight, with that uppercut at the end of the first round. And Gadelha got up and arguably won the next two rounds and won the fight. But like from whenever they got to the pocket, it was just such a wild freaking experience because like you didn't know what they were gonna do. Like Zhang threw a leg kick at the same time Joanna throws a head kick and like catches her, and like Joanna is literally leaning back at like a 45-degree angle while this is happening, and it's wild.
For me, that's what made this fight so hard to score, is that like they both had moments and they were just constantly just back and forth. Like Joanna plants and throws like a two-piece and finishes with a leg kick, but then Zhang eventually like counters and hits a power shot, and then she throws a leg kick, and then like she'll back Joanna up for a second because her her fists are just made of like bricks, and then she's the one walking Joanna down, but then Joanna fires back, and then she's the one walking Zhang down, and it's just back and forth tug of war. Just nobody really wants to give it. Like they were just
like every single time somebody landed, the other person was firing back almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like the thing that I think won it for Zhang, and I think if they do a rematch, I think she can improve on, were the extended pocket exchanges. Like I said, that power differential, just like when you can plant your feet and put more weight into your shots, they're just going to land different if you guys are just like meeting like with only like a foot and a half of distance between the two of you. She refused to give Joanna the kicking range. She would kick Joanna. She battered that lead leg. They both did of each other. Like with those inside leg kicks to the lead leg of Joanna. Like it was very bruised up on the inside.
The counter game was so on point.
Yeah. It wasn't a thing that happened every single time, but like when she could get a beat on Joanna's first strike, like I said, like that jab especially, she was countering it with like ferocity. Like the one thing I really want to see her improve on is that left hook, because like the mechanics that she was like, I think she got better by the end of the fight, which was weird to me, but like they were very both. And Joanna's been like this her entire kickboxing and MMA career. They were very both like up in the pocket, to the point where like it was a bit of arm punching. Like I really like to see, and I think Zhang has like a better, like they would throw their combinations, and like Zhang's lead back foot would slide forward when she would throw the hook, and that took a lot of snap off of it, which is wild because she was landing brick fists to Joanna's face, and we'll talk about Joanna's head in a second.
Yikes.
Yeah, but like if she can learn to just keep her stance in the pocket and like just move her to pivot a little bit more, put a little bit weight on that hook, she would have knocked Joanna out, like 100%.
I feel like, and not to jump too far ahead, but I was shouts to my homie Jay. I was talking to him last night about like they're gonna have to rematch because this fight was just way too good and way too close for them to not rematch. But I feel like out of the two, like Joanna is like super world class, like top of the top, creme de la creme, whatever you want to call it. But I think we kind of know what Joanna is. Like her game plan doesn't really change from fight to fight. Like I'm gonna use a lot of footwork. I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm a much better technician than you, and eventually I'm just gonna overwhelm you, and it's not gonna be anything you can do about it. But like it doesn't really change much from fight to fight. And I feel like Zhang is the one who has like improvements that she can definitely make. And her improvements, I think, could lead to, like you said, like getting a stoppage. Like, I think if she had a bit better, maybe footwork, and maybe was able to just like slip a few punches rather than eat them in the pocket and maybe counter her that way, she probably could have got a finish. Or at least had more moments where she was able to like back Joanna up.
Yeah.
So I think a rematch, I don't say heavily favors Zhang, but if she's able to make those improvements, I think she give Joanna a lot of issues.
So here's the thing that's really just like Zhang she started her career in like 2013, so like she is just now entering her prime. But like at the same time, it feels like she's still learning as she's going. Because she fought a lot of not amazing competition in China, just people she was able to physically overwhelm.
Right.
And she's carried a little bit of that through to the UFC. But wow. Like it feels like from fight to fight, like her technique's improving. I think that has a lot to do with just like her improving her her because like she is her strength and conditioning, because I think she's just able to do more. Like I know we harp on technique a lot, but like if your body is not able to do the things it needs to do in order to have good technique, which is posture, keep proper posture, keep have some snap on a lot of those punches, be able to move with the speed and control that you need, like your technique's not going to improve. And like I think that a lot of it, like the strength and conditioning is just really paying off for her.
Because this is a rabid pace to go for 5 rounds.
This was her first 5-round fight.
And she looked great. Like, I mean, you're gonna slow down eventually. It's a fight, like, and especially in a war like this, you're gonna slow down eventually. But she never slowed down to like a crawl. Like, and I felt like I said, that 5th round that I scored for her, she was getting like a second win. Like, it was starting to come back a little bit. She tapered off a little bit, but
anytime like she landed something that gave her confidence, like she got right back in there.
She sparked. Yeah, got right back in. Like it lit the fuse again. Like she was ready to go again.
Like
and
the first 2 rounds were Joanna starting strong, like finding ways to get in and out of range and tag Zhang, and then Zhang would like land like a right hand, and then all of a sudden like she was just keeping pace with Joanna.
Right. Which not many people can really do. Like, there aren't a lot of fighters who can just and like a straight up just striking match who can just hang with Joanna for 5 rounds and really make it like that competitive.
Like
not.
We can't understand how impressive that is, because like Joanna Jedrzejczyk's arguably the best conditioned fighter in the history of the sport. Like, and I say that with 100% seriousness. Like, her performance against like Clay Gadella, where she loses those first 2 rounds, gets like beat up, taken down, knocked down at a point in that fight. Gets knocked down the 3rd round, in fact. But manages to go on and put like like to throw like 200 to 300 strikes in the last 3 minutes.
She became like a super. She turned into like a superhuman in those last 3 rounds.
Yeah, like she is absolutely one of the best conditioned fighters in the history of the sport. And Zhang kept pace with her.
And especially also considering that I ride hard for Weili on Twitter. I had some back and forth with a few people. But like one of the narratives, and a fair narrative, which is normally the case for Joanna, like 9 times out of 10 against anybody she fights, probably not named Shevchenko, she's just gonna be the better striker. Like the technique is way too clean, it's too crisp, and a lot of the narrative I heard about Zhang is like, oh, she's just getting by like on power, but like it's not. That's what people were telling me. I disagreed, but that was the narrative, that she's just getting by on power. It's not really like great technique or
That is 100% false.
Yeah, that's false. If you believe that, this fight had to change your mind, because you don't put on a performance like that against Joanna and not have great technique. Albeit, like I said, it's not the best technique ever. It can be improved upon, but it's really, really good. Couple that with the power, it's a problem for pretty much anybody. This fight. Well, hold on. Yeah, before we get off, we gotta that head.
Yeah. So we promised
Joel.
We promised Joel that we find things to compare Joanna and Jedrzejczyk's head to.
Her head looked like a mix between like E.T. and Bobby's World, like that. Her head was like, and I was trying to think when the hematoma first started, because the nastiest hematomas I've ever seen in life were Mark Hominick's and Hasim Rahman's from back in the day, and I was trying to think. I was like, is this the worst one I've ever seen? And like, I feel like Hominick's and Rahman's were bad in that, like, how far they stuck out of the head. But I felt like Joanna's was worse because it was like the shape of her head like changed.
Yes.
Like she went from like a normal head to like she was slowly morphing into Stewie Griffin. Like it was her head was slowly like it was slowly just transforming. And I've never seen that before. How do you fix that? Like, does your head eventually just go back? Is that like a permanent thing now? She's just gonna be stuck with the Hey Arnold? Like,
it's all blood and like it's essentially one bad bruise, right? But her orbital is fucked because it wasn't just her forehead; it was like her cheek was sticking out, like underneath her eye. Like, good God, woman. Fuck, like she she looks like a lot of like the strange motherfuckers I see at Walmart at like 3 o'clock in the morning, who are like on hardcore drugs as they walk around the store and have been for like 20 years. Like,
you remember that cartoon Street Sharks? Oh man.
I feel a little more guilty laughing at the shape of her head if it wasn't for all the shit she was talking in the lead up to this fight.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that. Yeah, she crossed the line between trash talking, like, all right, now you're doing a little too much now.
Which she has repeatedly done in the past.
Yeah. Oh man.
Zhang throwing the shut up at her weigh-ins on Friday, or was it Thursday? I don't even remember. But that was one of the best like shutdown moments. Just plain simple, just like shut the fuck up.
All right. You gonna catch these hands tomorrow?
And you know what? I'll give it to Joanna because like this isn't like the Rose fight where she lost the decision and was instantly like, I won that. That's bullshit. She
took this one well.
I think she was like, you know, I gave my all. My face is, I look like a gray. This like I just gotta. It's shaped like a balloon.
Like, how did that happen? Those before and after pictures are scary. God. It's like the old GoldenEye game. They had the big head mode. She got... Jesus Christ, man. I hope she's all right this morning. Like, I hope.
Yeah, I can't
get
imagine.
Get ice and just put a do-rag over it and just tie it down. Just
like I'm looking at her, like her orbital has to be shattered. Like no other way that made her face like that.
That was oof.
We probably will not be seeing her for a while.
Nah, and we should.
And rightly so.
Yeah, go heal up, man, because that was. I mean, like, Zhang was busted up, too. Don't get me wrong. Like, they both took some...
Oh, yeah. Like, her eye was closed, but, like...
Yeah. But I ain't never seen... Man. Real quick, something I want to address before we move on. That I mentioned on Twitter. I find it weird. I wish I would have thought this earlier because I spent more time on it. But, I don't know. I find it weird that people are, like, becoming fans of Weili just because of her English getting better.
Yeah.
That's really weird to me. I don't get it.
Not wrong.
Like, I get it, but I don't get it.
Like, if anybody who's listening has followed Weili on like Instagram or any social media, you know she's a charming fucking person.
Right.
Like, it doesn't always come through. You know, in the I guess this is always translate for people, but like there's a woman who before she learned to speak English was calling John Jones Mr. Bones.
Yeah, like you can see it. Like it's really subtle, but you can see it. Like she doesn't have to speak a full blown English conversation for you to kind of get a gist of like what her personality's like.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, and she seems like a nice person, like a really nice person. Like, even like before, like she was speaking English, she's just like you do like what her translator was saying,
right?
But like, I think MMA has a lot of like shitty fans. And that's not to say like people who didn't connect with Weili before she started speaking English are shitty, but like there are people who like were pissed, super pissed that Jose Aldo never learned to speak English, and held it against him. Have held it against him his entire career.
Yeah, it's a strange thing.
Yeah, like, yeah, I imagine they're the same people who are upset that like Parasite won like the Academy Award for Best Picture. Like, it's like, I don't want to read subtitles. I don't want to have to listen to you to a translator. I want to be able to like, understand you one-on-one. But like, there are also people who probably don't speak another language, or like are around people who speak other languages. So it angers them when like they're the people who go to like, I don't know, like Paris in the summer and then is upset that nobody speaks English.
Yeah. Or the people who are like, they're riding like public transportation and somebody else is having a side conversation in like Spanish and it just like boils their blood.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut up.
Dude,
shut up.
There was a woman who came to my library. She comes all the time. She speaks Urdu, like with her kid. And they both speak English. Like they both speak both. But like we were having an event, and some outside lady who came from one of the snooty rich towns in like Upper Bergen County, where like all the rich white people live. Literally, it was like literally went to her as she was speaking to her kid in Urdu and was like, "You should really teach him English." And she turned to him she has way more self control than I would, because I would have turned to her and said, "Bitch, what did you say?"
Right. Don't get choked out in this book aisle.
Exactly. I imagine the people who didn't like Zhang before are like that woman.
Better like her.
A lot of them anyway. But yeah.
Better like her now. See what she'll do to your head. I want that.
Yeah, turn you into a freaking alien.
Yeah. Look like Paul. You ever seen that movie? Alright, I'm gonna leave Joanna alone. But shout outs to Weili Zhang. Zhang gang holding strong, man. I love it. That fight just that fight made me feel good. Like, I was really tired watching that card, and that fight just put some energy back in my soul that I needed. It eventually got sucked out by the main event, but point is, excuse me, that fight gave me life, man. Zhang gang in the building. Shout outs to all the Zhang gang members. We got one. But amazing fight, instant classic. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, if there's anything you go back and rewatch from this card, definitely go back and watch that fight. Amazing. Moving on to another fight. It's pretty amazing. Definitely the finish.
Might have been the fight of the night had it not been for Zhang Joanna.
Yeah. Beneil Dariush and Drakkar Klose. Boy, did I not see this ending coming. I was either thinking coming into this fight that either Klose was going to get the knockout, or what happened in the first round would end the fight. Like, he would have ended up just getting a choke. But life had some other plans. But they came out the gate just kind of slinging it. And then eventually, I think Dariush, he took him down. They kind of grappled with each other for a bit. And then Dariush ended up getting his back. And pretty much spent like the entirety of the first round on Drakkar's back.
It's worth, like, it was standing.
Yeah.
So, like, you burn out. You can really burn out your legs if your opponent is like standing and you are like on their back, because the only thing keeping you up is your body triangle.
Yeah. So he had that locked in for like a solid 3.5 minutes while he's trying to sink in this choke. And good job on Drakkar. I thought he was gonna be out of there a couple times, but he managed to fight the hands, and he lived to see another day. And you would think, like, all right, you survived the worst of probably what can happen. So you would think that you survived the worst. I thought he was gonna come out in the second round. He's gonna be like, all right, the BJJ guy couldn't submit me, so I'm gonna come out in the second round and I'm gonna put hands on him, and I'm gonna,
He wasn't wrong.
He wasn't. He did. He clocked him a couple times. He stung him with a straight right that backed him up a little bit, and he caught him with another right, and it's looking like, all right, Drakkar's about to end it. But Dariush said, nah, bruh. Like, he rushes in, they go swarm. He got countered and hit
He hit him with a right hook that like just fucking set him backwards, and then Dariush, like, in typical RDA Rafael Cordero fashion, marches him down, and then just hits him with an overhand left.
And just kills the man. Mouthpiece halfway out. Just destroyed.
Apparently
Drakkar.
that happened on, like, that was close. Like, Close, like, popped the mouthpiece out because he was trying to get more air. That's what it sounded like from commentary, but, like...
Yeah, his mouthpiece was literally, like, halfway hanging out of his mouth. Like,
I'm
actually surprised it didn't fly out.
I'm looking at a photo of him, like, just like going down, and like his eyes are still on Dariush, but he is quite clearly not seeing anything right now.
He is out of there. Boy, that that first that right that started that off, that stunned Drakkar, when he made him do like a I don't know, he did like a mini James Brown shuffle for like 2 seconds, where like his upper body like leaned back and his feet did like this little like, I don't know. I want somebody to put that on loop. It probably would be like a good dance. But the legs definitely went chicken. Yeah. I felt bad for Drakkar, man. Like, you survived getting submitted by a guy who you definitely don't want on your back. You come out second round on fire, and then it all just comes crashing down. First time he's been knocked out, right?
Yeah. I think it's the first time he's been stopped. Let me check. Yeah, first time he's been stopped. His only second loss in his career. He lost to David Tamor. Like, I kind of feel bad for Close because, like, after that Tamor fight where he basically just complained the entire time that Tamor would not brawl with him so that he could take him down. He's been showing out. Like, you know,
he's got some really solid wins.
Yeah, like Bobby Green, Lando Venata, Christos Giagos. Before the Tamor fight, he had beaten Mark Diakese. But like he had the fight won here, man. He did. He had Dariush on the back foot. You just can't go reckless for the finish like that. And you know, brilliant adjustment by Dariush, who has only his second knockout win, but like both in the UFC anyway. But both of them have been absolutely spectacular. Because you remember who he knocked out before.
I feel like I have that video on my Facebook. Who was it?
It was the Mr. Lowlight himself, James Vick. Yeah.
And you know when he falls, it's
timber.
Yeah, it's a sight to see, boy. It takes him 8 seconds to get knocked out. God, good win for Dariush, man.
I like Dariush. Like, I feel bad for Dariush because if he was a better athlete, he'd be a champion in this division. He is very, very good.
Yeah.
But like, unfortunately, the division has people like Alexander Hernandez and Edson Barbosa who are just ridiculous athletes and who are just faster and more explosive than he is.
Oh, well, real quick, I forgot to put that in the notes, but I'll throw it in now because you mentioned it. Speaking of Barbosa, has to be released.
Yep. Can't blame him. Can't blame him. Probably realized that featherweight was a stupid idea, and that he wasn't going to go anywhere as a lightweight, so they might as well try to bank in on that sweet, sweet PFL millionaire money.
I was gonna say, boy, go to Rosin with them kicks.
Oh, absolutely. That too. Hell,
a soccer kick from Barbosa.
I'd love to see him fight Michael Chandler, Patricio Pitbull.
Yep.
I don't know if those fights happen because I don't know if Pitbull is cool with fighting other Brazilians. But I'd be happy with those fights. I'd be happy to see him fight Douglas Lima. There's a fight.
Let's do it. Hey, yeah, release that man. Let him go have fun.
I mean, yeah, like he's been in the company for 10 years. Like he does. Like I don't think it'd be healthy for him to stay in the UFC lightweight division just because like there are so many bad matchups for him. Like the top 3 fighters in that division right now are Tony Ferguson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Justin Gaethje, and
all nightmares.
All nightmare matchups for him, and all dudes who've already beaten him. So like,
yeah,
like Barbosa, another dude I feel bad for because he fought at like any division up, like
champ.
He'd probably be champ with the same skill set, like, but like he was born in an unfortunate time where he has to share a space with Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, and that's just not fair.
Yeah. But
props to Dariush. Just absolute.
Way to shine on a card where like every fight was good and you still managed to like stand out. Like, shout out to everybody on this card, man. The winners, the losers, like, all right, co-main event, main event, y'all get like a slow clap. Everybody else, y'all were great. The winners, the losers, I enjoyed everything. Man, moving on to the next fight. What's a 2-year layoff? Neil Magny versus the Leech. I felt conflicted during this fight because
my heart was just broken. Like I like Neil Magny, but my heart was broken, man.
Yeah, the Leech is the homie, man. Li Jiang, I said it wrong. Xing Lian Li. We've praised him a lot on this podcast, especially about how much he's improved over the last few years. Really like rounded his game out. He's been looking really sharp his last few fights. It seemed like everything was like really coming together. And we insert Neil Magny, who hasn't fought since like 2018. The last time we saw him, he got knocked out by Ponzinibbio. And Magny comes in off a 2-year layoff and just puts a clinic on the Leech. Like, outside of the moment, I think that was in the first where they were like coming off of a clinch and Lee caught him at like a right hand or something that kind of like stunned him and backed him up a little bit. That was like the only moment he had during like the fight. After that, it was all Neil Magny just jabbing him, throwing knees, taking him down, beating him up, constant pressure, always in his face, jab, knee, take, like, Magny was doing work. And shout outs to both fighters who somehow took 2-year layoffs and came back like better than we've ever seen them. This has to be like a top Magny performance because he looked really sharp. It looked like this time away has definitely done him some good.
Yeah. Like, it's not like he was hurt. He was still out there training. But yeah, no, this was just really, really good stuff. Like, and just terrible game, just big, bad brain stuff from the Leech. Like,
yeah, when he was going for takedowns, I was like, huh?
Like, it's been a while since we've seen Jing Liang like turn into a wrestler. Like, maybe since he was on the regional scene. Like, he's definitely wrestled in the UFC, but like not out like straight up like I have to be attached to you. Like, you know, he got his nickname fighting in China because he was a wrestler.
Right.
When he got to the UFC, he realized that wasn't going to work, so he became a boxer. He probably should have stuck with that. Like, in all fairness, Magny was tagging the shit out of him on the feet. Just some really good manipulation stuff, tripling up on that jab, getting Jing Liang's head in the proper position to like really just make him pay for moving it. The proper thing for Lee to have done was to stay inside the center of the cage. Maybe go for more leg kicks against a dude who's historically not been adept at handling them. But no, like it was just a really, really good performance from Magny. The tie-ups in the clinch especially were concerning if you're Jing Liang's team.
To me, he looked a lot more like fluid than I've seen him before.
He looked more athletic.
Yeah.
Because like I'm used to Magny looking like a tryhard.
Right. Like he looks like he's like the apex of like, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but he's like the apex of like the working man's fighter. Like, I'm not really like a natural athlete. I don't have any of these crazy attributes other than like my cardio is kind of wild and he does have pretty good reach. But like, yeah, like nothing about him like really physically like stands out.
Besides his size, yeah.
Yeah, besides his size, but like his skill set is like it's not anything like really crazy.
He has no specialty. good enough in every area. And he can fight. He can take a punch, and he can fight really hard for like 5 rounds. That is Neil Magny. But here he looks like he like not even like the technical level, absolutely. But he looked fluid. He looked strong. He looked athletic. Like he looked fast in certain spots. Like it was really weird. Especially coming off that suspension. But it was easily best performance from that standpoint of his career. Because it's really hard to grade some of his other best wins. Because how do you grade a win in 2017 over Carlos Condit or a Johnny Hendricks who hasn't made weight in God knows how long, or the declining Hector Lombard? It's hard to get a grasp on where he really is at right now. Where his previous wins have been. Like the best win was probably Kelvin Gastelum, and it's a fight he arguably lost. But this was, so I'll say this is best performance because he looked good everywhere.
Yeah, he did. That time away I think really helped because he was another one of those guys too who was fighting 8 times a year.
Oh yeah.
And I think sometimes you do just kind of need to just take a break.
Yeah.
Just go work on your craft. Go get stronger. Go get faster. Go fine tune yourself.
Right.
And
there's something to be said for keeping an active schedule that keeps you in fight camps, because fight camp is where you get better. But Neil Magny seems like the type of guy who doesn't need a fight camp as an excuse to go to the gym and train hard. That's just going to be his life.
Yeah, no, he's definitely putting in the work. Clearly putting in the work. Man. Sorry, Leach.
I kind of feel bad now. I can't call Magny an overachiever anymore. He's just a solid fighter.
Yeah. I think he shed that. He's earned his spot. He's definitely earned his spot, and probably won some people money. Considering he was the underdog coming into this fight. But shout out to Neil Magny, man. Yeah, that was a great performance, man. I was shocked, honestly. Did not expect him to just kind of run through Lee like that. But shout out to the Leech, man. He's still the homie. We'll get him next time. And I was gonna say, did we mention anybody who won? Well, y'all know. Whatever. Magny won the decision.
Yeah.
And rounding out the main card, fight that actually kicked off the main card. Alex Oliveira versus Max Griffin.
Violent weight fight.
Yeah. And it was, that's that's what it was. Violent weight fight. A Max Griffin fight, he's coming out, he's not really wasting time. I do and they mentioned it during the broadcast. Alex Oliveira is good, actually makes good use of his frame. Some people who are lanky, kind of like he is, don't really know how to use it. And he landed a lot of good leg kicks. That straight kick down the middle was really good. He caught Max with a lot of these long right hands that he was catching Griffin with. I don't have really a ton to say about this, but it was a really fun fight. It was a nice little back and forth scrap. I think what kind of sealed it, for Oliveira was that third round. He got Max Griffin down, beat him up a little bit. Griffin did eventually, I think, ended up reversing him, but I think it was kind of too little too late. But great fight, though. Really good, just back and forth. This is the this is the violent weight section of welterweight, and these are two of the premium members, just kind of just slugging it out.
Yeah. Max Griffin's a personal favorite. Cowboy used to be. We'll talk about his situation after that fight. How the fuck did Oliveira ever make 155?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
Because dude is freaking huge, and Griffin had all the trouble in the world trying to close distance on him. Managed to get him down in the first round and take that round, but from this the second round and large parts of the third round, Oliveira just tagged the crap out of him with whatever he wanted from range, and Griffin just ate it. Cut him cut his face open and everything, which is another theme of the weekend where like nobody's face was safe. Because I think this was like there were like 4 or 5 really bad like facial rearrangements this weekend. Yeah. Shouts to Rodolfo Fierro on the prelims. Who's the only one that group of people who had their face rearranged who won. Great. Yeah. Oliveira cut open Griffin's face with an uppercut in the second round. It was really bad. Like the ref had to come in, call the doctor and check on him and everything. But he marched through it. Third round was super close, kinda. Cowboy got the takedown early, did some work from the top, and then Griffin got the takedown and he got the reversal, got the sweep, and then he did some work from the top. Not a lot. They were both just dead tired by the end of the fight, and Oliveira walked away with a split decision win.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah, I don't really have much else to to add to that. A nice quality violent weight fight. It was a great way that like set the tone for the main card, and then things just got better and better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Till the main event, but the violence was great while it lasted.
The main event where it got best, you mean?
That was the most technical fight of all time. We couldn't appreciate the nuance.
Yeah, exactly. These guys were processing like micro movements at a level never before seen in combat sports.
They both had like the full Matrix program loaded in their heads, and they just didn't want to attack each other.
They were both just moving too fast for the eye to see. That's what it was.
It's a Dragon Ball Z fight.
Exactly.
There we go. But nah, great, amazing main card, man. It was such a good main card. Like from start to finish, there was just violence all over the place, man. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the main card, definitely go back and watch. Just watch every fight. Watch all of them. Even the main event. I don't care if it wasn't that good. Go watch that too. Let the main event be a reminder of, sometimes you just gotta humble yourself. We can't have fun all the time. But amazing main card, man. Shout out to everybody who fought. It was a great time. I haven't been that entertained by that. I haven't been entertained that much by a main card, I felt like, in a while. Like that I felt like I got something I just really appreciated it. I really appreciated what I was watching. That was the main card. Moving on to the prelim spotlight, we'll highlight just a few fights. I guess we can both chime in on this one. We got to highlight Sean O'Malley versus Jose Quinones. Sean O'Malley, like Neil Magny, 2-year layoff also, I believe.
Yep.
And apparently 2-year layoffs are the deal, are the thing. I might have to take one. If I could take a 2-year layoff.
Just come back to your job better than ever.
Right.
That's the pitch. You just go to your job and you're like, listen, if you give me 2 years off, I will come back and I'll be so productive.
Right. I'm pretty much a manager by the time I come back.
You own the company.
Yeah, like you can't even give me the same position. I've elevated. Like I'm over you now, actually. That's when I get fired. But like, nah, man. And I wasn't like, and to a degree, I still feel this way a little bit. I wasn't like huge on the O'Malley bandwagon, and I'm not like a huge fan. But nah, he looked good for a 2-year layoff. Like, what is ring rust? What is, he looked sharp. He was moving really well. He looked confident. That's as.
Go ahead.
I'll just say that's as good as you can look when you haven't fought in 2 years. Albeit I'm pretty sure he was still training. Obviously he was still training because
he was supposed to have a fight before this, wasn't he?
I think so, and it got pushed.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Marlon Vera at UFC 239.
which we'll get to. He has a new fight. We'll get to that. But yeah, no, he looked great. Yeah, that uppercut.
Like on one hand, like on one hand, Quinones is a little built for like people like O'Malley, like super long, super athletic. But on the other, like that's what you want. You want if you got a prospect, you want him to look good. You throw him in there with somebody who he should be in dominant fashion. He did, and managed to get the stoppage, which he hasn't done yet in the UFC. Not since he beat the dude on the Contender Series. Like it's really like he looks sharp. Like the finish, it was pretty damn good. He blocks a right hook from Jose Quinones, and counters with a right hook of his own that puts him on the ground. Quinones gets up, immediately eats a head kick, goes down, ground and pound, it's over.
Wrap the head kick real nice around the. He had to like come around the corner with the head kick.
Yep.
Yeah.
O'Malley's weird because like he does not seem like a shitty person, but like all the hype around him is rubbing people, like a few people, the wrong way.
Yeah, it makes them not like him.
Yeah. There was a reporter who was like, "Yo, Reebok signed me for like this $10,000 deal, and like what I do is like I get them to give me children's Reebok shoes, and then I just give them out to kids in need." And he has like a whole bunch of them in his garage for like just to do that. So like I find it people were making fun of his outfit from like the dude's a kid. He's a guy from Montana, man. Like leave him alone. Like he's figuring this shit out.
Yeah, right. He's having fun.
He is having fun and figuring out like how things work in not Montana.
Is he like Chase Hooper if he was like edgy, so to speak?
That's the thing. Like O'Malley isn't even edgy.
But yeah, I'm saying like he's not.
He's
but like
like
compared to Chase Hooper, like
they both exist in that same realm. Like if Chase Hooper was athletic and dressed a little bit more ostentatious, then they'd be the same. It's funny that Chase Hooper gets like so much like because like I don't think he is I could be wrong, but I don't see him being like built for great things. I think he's gonna have like a solid. I think he can have like a solid UFC career, make a decent living, but I'm not sure if he's ever gonna be a top 15 band of featherweight. Though somebody did rank him. Did you see that?
What they put him at 15?
They put him in the rankings. And he was like, "Yeah, no, listen, I'm gonna be there one day, but I'm not there right now." So like at least he has that. They both do actually. Like one thing I appreciate that O'Malley said before during the week was that like he appreciates all the hype and all the love that people are giving him, but he also understands like the criticism. He's like, I haven't finished anybody in the UFC and I haven't really beaten anybody in the UFC. Which I guess you can see as throwing shade at Andre Sukumtat and Terrion Ware. But he's not wrong, and it's nice that he understands that about himself. And he trains at like a great gym. Like the MMA lab is, they do amazing things with fighters who have less potential than Sean O'Malley. Like they turn guys into like. They turn regional guys into career UFC fighters, which is really hard. It's really hard. So props to them. Props to him. Yeah.
I think I'll be more inclined to get behind. I don't really have any ill will at him. I guess I'm not as hyped about him as everyone else. But I just want to see him do it against, and he's taking the right steps. He's fighting who he needs to fight, winning who he needs to win against.
I mean, yeah, he's only like 20.
I'm just gonna sit and watch.
Yeah,
That's kind of my approach. I'm just gonna sit and watch.
He's only 25. It's his third fight in the UFC, and like you said, he's coming off a 2-year layoff. We should mention that the reason he had to take 2 years off was he tested positive for Ostarine.
I was gonna mention that, but I honestly forgot like what Ostarine was.
It is an selective androgen receptor modulator, which I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
But it's dope. It's dope.
There you go.
It has effects that like it increases your physical stamina and fitness, potentially producing effects similar to anabolic steroids. So it helps you stay in the gym longer, I guess, which is what steroids does.
It's a no. It's a hand slap. Don't do that.
Yeah, whatever. I'm fine with it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care either. I ain't in the gym.
I'm done with it. I'm waiting for TRT Tour to come back. I want him to murder Brandon Vera.
Oh man, this prelim spotlight kind of hard. I'll pick one more. Because all these prelims are actually pretty good. I'm gonna give it to the very first fight of the night only because I don't even like remember this guy. He's fought in the
Deontay Wilder.
He fought before, right?
I want to say he fought on that card, on the China card where Weili Zhang won the title. He lost to a wrestler out of China, but it was like the fight of the night.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll give my second prelim shout outs to Deontay Batgarel. I'm probably saying that wrong. He put that left hand on Guido Canetti, and yeah, that was it.
Great knockout.
Yeah, it was when the card kicked off that way. I was like, oh, we in for one tonight.
Yeah, it was fantastic knockout. So I kind of like Canetti. Canetti's fun, but we'll see what happens with Batgarel. I thought he looked good in his first fight. Even though you lose to a dude who's also making his UFC debut, and honestly, I think Batgarel probably has the higher ceiling for himself. I don't know. I feel that way about like guys who come from countries that aren't traditionally like wrestling countries. Like that opponent from the first fight was a wrestler, so yeah. So Mark O. Madsen versus Austin Hubbard, and his last name is Madsen. Not he's not Irish.
I kept saying O. Madsen.
He's what? He's from Denmark. Yeah, what do you call people from Danish? There we go. Versus Austin Hubbard, which is a really good fight. Madsen got off to a quick start. Got that freaking awesome suplex with one of the most incredible arches I've seen in MMA. Just like picked him up for the back suplex and slammed him down basically in the same spot. That's how great the arch was. But props to Hubbard. Refused to be matted. Got taken down 8 or 9 times and got up every single time. Refused to give Madsen anything on the mat. And in that third round really just came alive. He realized that every time Madsen threw the jab, anytime Hubbard would feint, Madsen would duck down to his right and take his eyes off of him. So what he ended up doing was starting to step in with that lead step-in knee, and then eventually got to the point where he was literally just, anytime he would, Madsen would go to duck down, he would just grab the head with his lead hand and just crunch him down into it. Some really, really good stuff. It's a good prospect fight for Madsen, though he's a 35-year-old lightweight, so I don't know how that works out.
Gotta get the ball rolling pretty quick.
Yeah. Madsen did not look terrible strike. He looked, I'll say he looked willing to strike because he was in spots. when he could get Hubbard moving backwards, he would throw that overhand right. He connected on it a couple times pretty cleanly, and you could tell it really bothered Hubbard. But this was a fight between the dude still figuring a lot of things out and a guy who is pretty ingrained into this. You get the feeling if...
I'm sorry.
No, what's up?
Joanna caught one more stray. Somebody posted a picture of her and said her head looks like when you look at the back of a spoon. Oh man, let me get off of Twitter. Oh man.
Oh god, that's good.
Hold up, I gotta get him. That was at ELLZZG MMA. Oh man, that was funny. All right, proceed.
And you get the feeling that if Hubbard picked it up in the second round, he might have walked away with the decision. But the threat of the wrestling game, man, it's enough to scare you off, even if you have to get up like 20 times. Even if you get up 20 times,
that and when you're getting suplexed,
yeah,
like like that,
yeah. I was a little shocked that we didn't get like a Rustam Khabilov like Vince Pichel situation, where he just gets knocked out on the suplex. But props to Hubbard, props to Madsen, picks up his 10th win in his career, I think, second win in the UFC. Did not match the same hysteria that his first fight caused when he was fighting in Denmark on the main card, and he just absolutely tooled what's his face.
And that arena went crazy.
Yeah, Danilo Belluardo. Yeah, that arena exploded. Yeah, it's a solid fight. And now I'm stuck because there are two fights. I talked about Rodolfo Vieira a little bit and how his face changed, and so let's talk about Meerschaert versus Darren Wynn. First off, I don't think you should be allowed to call commentary for your teammate, or the dude you manage. But I'll give it to DC. He did not go in the Dominic Cruz, what's that dude's name, Matt Sales route.
No, he did a good job commentating. Like he didn't. I never got the sense that he was trying to,
This felt more like a guy, like when you watch a boxing event and they interview the coach in the corner while the fight's going on. Like I got that type of vibe more than like I'm really gonna put my guy out. Like DC was pretty hard on Wynn. Looking back on it, you still don't want to open yourself up to that type of like bias,
right?
But like for what it was not all that. It was not terrible. Though I think it did take a bit of the narrative off of Meerschaert. Wynn got off to a pretty solid start. 5'6", 185-pounder who missed weight. Big overhands, big hooks. Was catching Meerschaert early with those. I think he hurt him at one point early in the first round. But Meerschaert found his footing, found his range. Realized that Darren Wynn is only 5'6" and can only throw from like a foot away. So he just started jabbing at him. And then going to the body. And then jabbing at him some more. And eventually it just completely shut down Wynn's game. And started throwing those knees, started throwing kicks. Just that looping punch to the body that like Usman was throwing on Covington. We had a few of those. It was a good performance from Meerschaert. Like if this dude was if this dude was athletic, he'd be a ranked fighter because he is a very solid skill set. he completely shut down Win for most of the next 2 rounds. Win did catch him in the 3rd round, but Mearshart was able to pivot off of it. Managed to get to Win's back and lock up the rear naked choke halfway through the 3rd round and get the submission. Got it quick, too. Win did not put up much of a fight.
Nah. I think he was kind of tired.
Yeah, he looked big.
he looked pretty winded.
But yeah, just all around solid performance from Mearshart. Like Win, like you cannot, like if you're a short, like, so obviously being 5'6" is not ideal for middleweight, but there are ways you can optimize your height, right? Like, you can get underneath people, meaning that, like, you know, you can take away a little bit of their mobility by forcing them to, like, have to get to your level, like, you know, sink their knees down or sit down in their stance, and, you know, you can play with that. You can pressure like John Lineker does, like to an absurd degree, or like DC, or you can stay all the way out and be like, you know, a John Dawson type. You cannot literally just walk yourself into range and sit at the end of your opponent's jab and expect it to work. Yeah. But you either gotta be pressuring or you gotta be out of the pocket, or you gotta be underneath them. And Win's an amazing wrestler, and I get that it's hard to take dudes down in MMA because of the cage when, you know, you're the shorter dude. But, like, you got to add that threat in, or else, like, they have no reason to, like, they have no reason to allow you to be in the pocket.
All right.
That's what Win discovered here.
Well, he's 0-2 now, right?
When he's 1-2 in the UFC.
Or 1-2.
He won that big ass brawl with what's his face.
Eric yeah.
And honestly, probably should have beat Darren Stewart, but like it was like one of those things where like Stewart landed more damaging shots, so like they gave him some, which fair enough.
Yeah, that happens. You know, it happens. Well, we'll see when the wins. I really don't really know what to like think of. He
is cut rate DC.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like a little mini DC.
Which is funny because DC's a mini DC.
Right. But you know what though, I can't really make fun of Win or his physique because I realize like I'm only taller than him by like an inch or two. We're probably built around. Well, he's way more athletic than I am. So.
You're also not trying to fight in the UFC's like middleweight division.
That is true. I think about that sometimes too. Like at my weight, I would technically be a heavyweight. So.
But you also have to figure out like these dudes have like, well, not the heavyweights, but like everybody else has like a 9% body fat, 7% body fat, like.
I feel like with my frame, I probably would have to be like a lightweight.
I mean, Joel Romero was a fucking heavyweight in that cage last night.
Why does he not? He should have went to 205 like 3 years ago. Man could have been like a champ by now.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll ever fight John Jones since they're friends.
Yeah. Well, just to recap. All the prelims, so give everybody their just due. Just starting back from the top, Sean O'Malley got the TKO over Jose Quinones. Mark Madsen got the unanimous decision over Austin Hubbard. Rodolfo Vieira got the arm triangle choke over Saparbek Safarov. Mearshart got the rear naked choke over Deron Wynn. Giga Chikadze got the split decision over Jamal Emmers. And Danah Batgirl got the KO over Guido Canetti. That was UFC 248. Amazing card, top to bottom, violence everywhere. I can't really pinpoint and tell you what to rewatch. Just rewatch the whole card if you missed it. Like, it really was one of those cards where you should watch every fight.
But start with Joanna, Jedrzejczyk, Weili, Zhang.
Yeah, and work your way down. And then watch Adesanya Romero last. But
maybe on like a different day. Like, you know, not...
Yeah. When you got an extra 30 minutes to spare on a day that you're not doing anything, then throw Adesanya Romero on. And just put some music on in the background. Need something to keep you something to keep you awake. But amazing card though, man. Amazing card. Yeah, that definitely one of the easily. This is gonna be contention for like card of the year. Zhang versus Jedrzejczyk is definitely fight of the year, hands down, no questions. And good luck on anybody who tries to have a better fight than that. Just great performances from a lot of just really solid fighters. And you know what I like, just real quick, like guys like Dariush and Magny and Mearshart, like they're not like A-level fighters, I would say. These are kind of guys who I would say are kind of like that second tier. So I thought it was cool that a lot of them got a chance to shine on like a pay-per-view that was this big.
Yeah, like they're career guys.
Right.
And this is these type of performances is how they keep their names around.
Right. So, yeah, man. Just shout out to everybody who was on this card, man. It was a really, really good time, man. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. Real quick before we move on to fight announcements and stuff, I wanted to give. Well, you probably can recap it better than I can. You mind giving a quick recap of the Invicta Phoenix Series?
Yes.
That happened.
So, Invicta had their third Phoenix Series card featuring a bunch of featuring a bantamweight tournament consisting of a quarterfinal and a semifinal that had 1-round fights, and then a final that had a 3-round fight, as well as a fight between Kay Hansen and Liana Peresin, and the main event, which was Julija Stolyarenko versus Lisa Verzosa for the Invicta bantamweight title. The tournament first round winners were Serena De Jesus, who beat Carrie Kennison by just beating her up in the clinch. Taylor Guardado, who out wrestled Claire Guthrie for a decision. Hope Chase, who put a beating on Julia Odolino. Just like very aggressive, very powerful striker. Hope Chase and wrestler, and Tanisha Tennant, who out-kickboxed Brittany Victoria off the back foot, rocked her, had her hurt. We had a couple of alternate fights in case anybody from the first round could not make it to the semis. Mitzi Mary beat Morgan Hicken, and Kelly Clayton beat Flory Nietu Moore. And one of the, like, I've never seen another person eat so many right hands as Flory did in that fight. It was really bizarre. Kelly Clayton just kept tagging her. It's not even like it was like set up for, like, Flory is just straight up in the air, chin untucked, walking into Clayton's right hand over and over again before getting submitted with less than 10 seconds left in the round. All right, moving on to the semis. Taylor Guardado fought Serena De Jesus and beat her via a split decision. I didn't agree with the decision. Guardado basically won off a few exchanges that happened at range, but Serena De Jesus was the one who was able to nullify her wrestling, and she did some, not damage, but she did some work in the clinch, like some really nice knees, some really well-timed elbows off the break. I thought De Jesus should have won, but they gave the split decision to Guardado. Again, these were 1-round fights. Tanisha Tennant beat Hope Chase. Hope Chase decided to turn into a wrestler, but ended up eating a bunch of Travis Brown-style elbows along the cage. Tennant also managed to keep her at range on the feet. Out kickboxed her. Did a lot of had a lot of really nice head movement. Was able to keep Chase off her. Tennant ends up winning decision. And then we had the first open round scoring fight in North American MMA history. Kay Hansen versus Liana Peresin. Did not factor much into the fight. Kay Hansen won the fight on the ground, out wrestled Peresin pretty clearly for 3 rounds. So I don't know if you saw the style of which they were doing it, Sensei. It was I don't care much for open scoring because I think it takes away a little bit of the drama for us, the fans. But the way they implemented it, I think, was pretty good. So they had 2 people with iPads at the end of each round stand behind the corner along the cage. So, like, fighter had their back to them, the coach could see the score. And it would have the scores displayed, like blue 10, red 9. So that so it was up to the corner to tell the fighter whether or not tell them what the score was, which I really like. If you're gonna have it, I think if you're gonna have open scoring, I think the corner should know, not the fighter, because
So, but hold on. So but like the viewers still saw it, though,
Oh
right?
yeah, so they did not put them up on the screen like for the arena to see, but the way they put them up on the screen was that the cameraman was right there, so you could see the score, the coach could see the
Okay.
score, but the fighter couldn't see the score. So it was up to the fighter, the coach, to be like, "Hey, you're down 2 rounds to none. You have to go out there and get the finish." Or they could just be like, because they know their fighter better than, we do. They could just be like, hey, you're doing fine. Just do this, this, and this, and you'll win the decision. Or
Because I feel like it probably would be hard. It's probably be almost impossible to do in this age because everybody has a phone. But like I said, I think it would be cool if we didn't know, but the corner people knew somehow.
yes, that's
Like, just don't show us.
yeah. I think that'd be for the best. Like, open scoring does not, like, I know they want like accountability for the judges and everything like that, but like these people, like, they don't care what your opinion is. They only
Yeah,
answer
and
the athletic commission. They don't even answer the fighters.
and I understand people's logic. Like their logic is kind of like what you said. Like in a perfect world, you could tell a fighter, like if it's a championship fight, and you could tell them, maybe in the fourth round they lost the first 3. So you tell them like, hey, you lost the first 3. You need to get a finish. And in a perfect world, they would go out and storm out and just go for broke, blah blah blah, whatever. But like we both watch Glory. Glory has open scoring. It doesn't do, I think, not to say it probably, maybe it works for some fighters, but I don't think it has the impact that people think it would have.
Like, imagine you gave your all. You're in a championship fight. Like, you're out there fighting your ass off, and then you hear that you're down 3 rounds to none. Like,
You're probably demoralized at that point.
do you just try to preserve yourself? Like, do you do you mentally check it? Like, because I can see that happening. Because we see it happen in fights where fighters know they're down like 2 rounds to none or 4 rounds to none, and they just give up. So, like it's you're not gonna like amateur boxing has open round scoring, and it's one of the most corrupt sports.
And the thing is, I feel like the open round scoring, and I'm not against it. Like, I think it still would be cool, like if the corners knew, but we didn't. Let us have the drama. Let the corners know exactly what's going on. But I feel like it still doesn't address the actual issue, which is the judging.
Yes.
Like, that's really where the issue is. It's not I guess the scoring is a part of it, but it's really the judging. Like, that's where all the issues come from. And the open round scoring doesn't fix the judging. Like, they're gonna judge the fight the way they would have judged it, no matter if it was open scoring or if it was just normal. So it doesn't really. I don't know. Like, maybe it's a step in the right direction. Like, I'm not against it. I just want people to kind of pump their brakes. Like, this isn't gonna be a fix by itself. Like, we'll have to take some other steps if we want to see judging overall improve. This could be a step in the right direction, but this isn't a one-size-fits-all, like, oh, this is just going to wash away all the sins of bad judging. It's not going to happen like that. Oh, my bad. Did you talk about the main event of that card?
Not yet. You still got 2 more fights. Tanisha Tennant took a 30-27 decision over Taylor Guardado in the finals of the card. It was a low-paced kickboxing match. I came away from the night really high on Tanisha Tennant. I think she's a really good prospect. Like, not a lot of women, especially a women's bantamweight, can fight off the back foot like she does. She's a really slick out fighter. kind of mad that we didn't get to see more of her versus Hope Chase, because that's the type of matchup, like, you know, the aggressive come forward wrestle boxer versus the out kickboxer. You know, nice matchup. But she ends up winning the tournament. I think she gets the shot at the winner of the main event next, which is cool. And the main event, which, by the way, would have been the best fight of the weekend had it not been for Joanna Jedrzejczyk and Weili Zhang just decided to go fucking ham on one another.
The blood.
Blood. If you are queasy at the sight of blood, don't watch this fight.
Not for you.
It is not. If you love blood and guts wars, this is exactly for you. Julija Stoliarenko versus Lisa Versosa for the Invicta Bantamweight title. Stoliarenko, some of you may remember from that season of Tough that they did women's featherweight. And I think she ended up losing to like Leah Letson at the like Tough finale. But like they should have kept her because she has been fun to watch on the circuit. Like, she's just out here armbarring chicks, and then she comes into this fight and just puts on a fight of the year candidate with Versosa. So hold up. So the opening minute and a half of this fight involved Stoliarenko hitting Versosa with like 2 or 3 different head kicks, and then running into a Versosa right hand that drops her, and then Versosa follows her into the guard and almost gets armbarred. That's the first 90 seconds of this fight. Yeah. It settled down a bit after that, from the second round on, but Stoliarenko started throwing these step-in, like, lead elbows that just cut open Versosa's face in, like, 3 different spots. And she had, like, her face at the end of every round was just, like, all red, like, crimson mask. They had to call the doctor in at one point after the end of the round. It was wild. Props to Versosa. She fought her ass off. Like, she did not back away. She was finding success with that right hand throughout the fight. But just like defensively, just had no answers for Stoliarenko, who eventually just got to the clinch and started elbowing her. So like I said, it went to split decision, but I thought it was a pretty clean win for Stoliarenko, who looked like $1 million. That was going to be my leader for fight of the year. Maybe I'm trying to think of another fight because I just realized it's March, so we've had a few fights already. But that was one of the best fights in Invicta history. It's up there with Grasso versus Mizuki, Caitlin Young, Leslie Smith won. Yeah, it was really great. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it.
I'll say shout outs to them and Joanna and Weili Zhang. Yep. International Women's Month weekend. International Women's Day. It's actually today.
Yeah, it is Women's Month though.
Yep. So making history.
Yep.
Killing it. But yeah, I only saw that main event, and I will co-sign. If you like some blood and guts and just some good old fashioned violence that goes 5 rounds, go ahead, cut that on. Go do yourself a favor. And I like that. I like that tournament though. That Phoenix Rising. I feel like they're 2 for 2. So I enjoyed the first one too. I got to go back and watch this one.
Did you watch the second one?
Huh?
Did you watch the second one?
Who came from the
Miranda Maverick.
The first one was. Did I watch that one? Maybe I did watch that one. I can't remember. The first one always stands out to me because I remember Van Buren. I can't remember the second one that much. Either way, I enjoy that tournament though. I like that tournament. Shout out to Invicta. So I guess we'll move on to fight announcements and then get into some news. I'll try to make this quick because of time. But fight announcements, which I do actually have a decent number of. I'll just run through these fairly quick. All right, got a lot of them. UFC 250 Henry Cejudo, Jose Aldo, Amanda Nunes, Felicia Spencer.
Good.
And the trilogy that I don't know if we asked for, but we're getting it. Little Nog, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira versus Shogun Rua.
Which is supposed to be Little Nog's retirement fight. Allegedly. Which I can respect.
Yeah, I respect. I hope it is his retirement. I hope so. But that's all going down at UFC 250. At UFC 251, Valentina Shevchenko jumping right back in to defend her flyweight title against Joanna Calderwood. At UFC Kazakhstan, we'll have Marlon Moraes versus Petr Yan. At UFC 249, we will have Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Hernandez, which I'm now realizing after yesterday, these are now two people who I kind of both want to see lose. I don't know if you saw what Makhachev posted on Twitter.
I saw what Makhachev posted. What did Alex Hernandez do?
Oh, no, he didn't post anything. He just says a lot of stuff that's like, shut up.
No, like Makhachev, like read the room, man.
Bro, it is not the 1800s no more. Like
3.5 rounds into one of the best fights in UFC title history, and Makhachev tweets out, "MMA isn't a women's sport."
Yeah, like, bro.
It's like,
bro. Go back to the Stone
And then he
Age.
had a bunch of people tweeting the him getting knocked out by Adrian Martin.
I think he eventually deleted the tweet, but come on, bro.
I will give him this. I think it came from a paternalistic thing rather than a women suck at fighting thing, which I don't know if it's any better, but like I think he has like the same mindset that like Khabib does, where it's like, you know, you don't want to see women get beat up, but they're both grown. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, let them bring the violence. They are willing participants. They are great at it. But they're fighting at UFC 249, along with, speaking of Nurmagomedov's, Umar Nurmagomedov will be making his debut against Hunter Azur, and Magomed Ankalaev and Ian Kudalaba will be rematching also on that same card at UFC 249. At UFC Saskatoon, we will have Alexander Volkov versus Curtis Blades. And at UFC Columbus, we will have Marlon Chito Vera versus Eddie Wineland.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like that's an underrated. I feel like, real quick, I'll make it a real quick tangent. Like, I feel like Wineland, because we all ride hard for WEC. I feel like he's like the forgotten guy of like that class who's actually still around and is still like putting on like solid fights.
Like, yeah,
like
it's
the
really
rest of that.
Weird how like non on the bandwagon everybody is with one, because dude's been a knockout artist in the division that used to get like crapped on because like Dominic Cruz was the champion and wasn't knocking anybody out. Like, he is out. He's been like, he is consistently entertaining and consistently brings the violence.
Shout out to Eddie Wineland, man. Long live WEC.
I think it has a little bit to do with the fact that he only fights like once a year now.
That is true. You kind of forget about him, and then when he pops up, it's like, oh yeah, he is still around. And like
it's dope.
Then he goes and knocks somebody out.
But
yeah, that's a great fight. That's a good fight. Over at Bellator London, we will have Fabian Edwards versus Costello Van Steenis. Bellator 242, Sydney Outlaw versus Adam Piccolotti. Bellator 243, Liz Carmouche making her debut against Mandy Bohm or Boom. I don't know how to say that.
Something German.
And a fight that I just saw yesterday, May 2nd, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano.
Yes. The only thing I'm angry about is that fight was supposed to happen in April at MSG, and I was going to go, but they decided to have it. They're having it in Manchester on the undercard for like Derek Chisora or Dylan White or something. It's just, that deserves to be a main event, and it deserves to be.
That should be that deserves all the attention.
Definitely. There was another big fight from the women's boxing world. Cecilia Breakhouse, unified women's welterweight champion. She will be fighting Chicago's Jessica McCaskill to unify. Is it unification or is it? I don't remember. But they're going to be fighting April, May. had to think. They're going to be fighting soon.
So boom. I hope Serrano wears the J's again.
I mean, she hates boxing shoes, so she probably will wear the J's.
Good. Wear the J's. J's were extra clean.
Mm-hmm.
Real spiffy.
Straight out the box.
Yeah, definitely straight out the box. Nah, man, that a lot of awesome fights. Due to time, can't really go into deep on any of these because we still got a couple of headlines to cover, and then we'll get out of here.
I'm still.
I mean, for the most part, we've talked about Cejudo and Aldo. Like, we don't really care much for. I'm gonna be a big hypocrite though. Like, if Aldo wins, I'm probably gonna be like really happy.
Oh fuck yeah! You get me?
But, well, you know what? I'll pick one fight that we can go briefly talk about. Out of all those mentioned, the Moraes and Yan fight.
That's the heat. That's the good shit. That's the Marlon Moraes doesn't catch a break.
This division is scary.
In all fairness, he probably shouldn't. Dude just beat arguably the greatest fighter of all time. But boy, that is probably not a good matchup for him. Talk about dudes who will pressure you and then put the hurt.
Yes. Boy, Mariah, I hope you are in the gym, just learning,
working the pivots.
Yes, because this is not the guy you want in your face for 5 rounds. This is not the guy, man. That fight's gonna be crazy. That is gonna be a wild. I like both, man. I'm a big Moraes fan, but Yan has been, just Mr. All Violence. Even before he was in the UFC, really, like, he's been all violence just for years now. That is heat. That is a major heat. Do you? I almost feel bad about this fight too. I feel like Aljamain's getting left out.
Like I'm curious why that fight. Like why is it Marlon Moraes and not Aljamain Sterling?
Yeah.
Like, is Sterling be like I can't imagine they're just like Aljamain Sterling is like on the he's on the short list to replace Aldo if he can't make it, because like I think Cejudo would just as soon pull out of the fight. So I don't know what's happening with Sterling.
Yeah, I feel like he's as great as that fight is. He's getting somehow. I feel like he's getting like the short end of the stick.
Like I guess we won't know until what Sterling until we have an idea what Sterling's doing next.
Yeah, we'll see. But either way, Moraes and Yan, that's a fight you mark on the calendar. That's gonna be a wild one. And then I guess we can move on.
I just realized they're going to San Diego.
When?
I don't remember.
So he'll probably be on.
Well, no, like because.
Well, no, he's in New York.
But they might try to get Dominic Cruz for that card, and Cruz would need an opponent.
We'll see. Sterling probably would take the Cruz fight to have that name on his resume.
Yeah, I just realized since we haven't talked a month, we haven't gotten to talk about Josh Fabio, which we won't get a chance to today. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Ah, man, that guy. Woo.
He's the man chasing a Mil Mech around the cage with a knife.
He's got Portal beat by. He's got Portal beat by a mile. Like, remember, like we went through the movement coach phase. Yeah. Nah, he's got all them guys beat. He is the king of that class, if there is such a thing.
Shouts to Koeka Carnage on Tumblr again for he linked me with the Athletic. Josh Gross's interview with Fabio after the Sanchez Pereira. God, what was the dude's name? Was it Michel Pereira?
Yeah.
The after their fight, he had Josh Gross interviewed Fabio's coach. about the bias in UFC commentary and how Diego Sanchez blocked 1,000,000 strikes in that fight and how he had won and like everybody was just being stupid. Shouts to Clark Akari for linking me with that. But we also think to just talk about Joseph Benavidez falling short again.
Oh God.
So, just we'll tie this into like the last fight announcement. The plan is they're going to run this back in the summer. For those who don't know or have been living under a rock, Davison Figueiredo beat Joseph Benavidez last week for what was supposed to be the UFC flyweight title, but Figueiredo missed weight by like 1.5 pounds. So it was set up so only Benavidez could win the title, and then he ended up getting knocked out in the second round. And now they're looking to rematch that fight sometime in the summer. So
chances that he misses weight again?
100%.
God, I felt bad for Joe, man. Damn, this sport is cruel.
It is cruel as fuck. And that's
God.
That's part of the joy. That is part of the joy.
Like, I'm glad. Part of me is glad he's getting the rematch, but a part of me is like, is this gonna go different? I mean, like, he had success, but he was walking into the way he was just leaping in. I was like, bro, this is a disaster just waiting to happen.
Yeah, that's what made it fun. You gotta live on that. You gotta live and die on that edge of that sword, my man.
Ah, man. We'll see what happens in the rematch. We'll see. I'll keep my headlines pretty short. One's just kind of a quick footnote. The last time we talked about Jessica Penne, life was not going so well for her. She was like on the verge of being suspended for like 4 years. She opened up an OnlyFans account. I don't know if it's still there,
we should like opening up an OnlyFans account does not mean that life isn't going great for you. She opened that up to finance her legal battle with USADA.
Which means life wasn't going so good.
Yeah. I feel like I have to add that little bit of context in.
Yeah. But all jokes aside, it was a really rough situation, like, and I didn't know that she was 37. I was under the impression that she was like 32, which even still a 4-year suspension is bad either way, but at 37, a 4-year suspension pretty much means you're never fighting again. Definitely not in the UFC at least. But
go fight Japan.
Yeah.
Go fight Rinda Kai.
Right. But her sentence has been reduced. I'm reading this from MMA Junkie. Says the former Invicta FC champion, UFC title challenger, received a reduction for her U.S. anti-doping suspension. Just going to skim down a little bit. She was originally suspended for 4 years after failing an out-of-competition drug test provided on April 2019, testing positive for 2 metabolites of stanozol hydrox. I can't pronounce. Some stuff she wasn't supposed to be taking. Banned substances that they were banned at the time. But her sentence has been reduced. Says, but due to determine she wasn't intentionally looking to cheat when she committed her first violation, as well as her participation in discussions with USADA in her second violation, USADA reduced Penne's suspension from 4 years to 20 months, which means she will be able to return to competition effective on December the 8th of this year. So she may or may not have narked somebody out. We don't know. We weren't there. We can only speculate. But good news that she can fight again. 4 years compared to a couple months. I'll take it. I'm glad she's back though. 'Cause that would have been a really just terrible end to a career for you to get suspended for 4 years, and it wasn't looking good. So I'm glad she'll be able to fight again. So shout out to Jessica Penne. I don't know if she snitched on somebody, but
probably.
Yeah, well, it is.
I wonder how many of these cases of like people snitching like actually end up somebody getting like ratted out because like I don't think we've ever heard of like anybody like
Or maybe they're not snitching the fighters. Maybe they're like snitching like the dealers.
that make more sense.
Okay. Could be that.
That being said, like Penne probably should retire. Just throwing it out there.
We'll see. And my last news story. I'm only bringing this up because we covered this when it happened, and every time we brought up his name, we were wondering like what was going on with his case. But if you guys remember, Abdul Razak Alhassan at one time was like one of the top prospects at welterweight. He was out here handling business, and then he had a sexual assault case. Didn't hear from him for a long time. It has now come out that the case went to court. He has been found not guilty. There's a lot to read here, honestly, so I can't really. I'm not really going to get into all of this because this honestly could have been like a whole discussion in and of itself. I'll just say do your research. There's enough articles about the story. Kind of around. It was a messy.
Gross.
Yeah, not good. Like, this is kind of one of those things where, like, even though you won in court, it's still like, this was not a good look. Like, this was not a good look at all.
His story is not much better than what he was tried for. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Oh god.
Yeah. Not people just make good decisions, man. Just I don't know. But he won in court, so it is what it is, I guess.
His manager said he'll be fighting within like 2 months, or he'll have a fight within 2 months.
Yeah. He's quoted as saying, "We're free to go back to life." And he also, I guess, in the vein of Sean O'Malley and Neil Magny, has been out for 2 years due to this. So if you were wondering where Abdul Razak Alhassan was, he's been dealing with his court case, but it's over now, so probably be seeing him fighting soon. But like I said, just research the details of that case. It's a lot. I can't get into all of it due to time, but messy stuff. But that's all I have for news headlines.
Okay. I have nothing. You got everything I want to talk about. Oh wait. We talk about how last week's one card was fought in front of an empty stadium. Yeah, we mentioned coronavirus earlier. So if you're a MMA fan, and I don't know what the UFC's plans were regarding Asia in the immediate future, because I know they like to go there once a summer. I know there's talk about the Olympic Games being suspended. I know that one is having an issue like with all their more and more cases popping up. Italy is just is the most I don't want to say infected, but infected country in Europe right now. So Lord knows if and when the Bellator is going to go back to Italy. They just got our first cases around here. I know they shut down like a whole school district in Manhattan, or a school in Manhattan. I'm not sure if it was the whole district. And the UFC is going to Brooklyn in a month for it could be Tony. So, and Dana White came out and said that they're not canceling the event. So
Dana got money to make. He don't care about that.
Yeah. Just be careful out there, man. Wash your hands. Make sure your family, kids wash their hands. But also don't hoard shit. Hand sanitizer shouldn't be $300 on Amazon. Like, go buy soap.
Right. Like, get some soap, some body wash, something.
Take showers. Wipe your stuff after you're done using it. Especially if you go to the gym and stuff. I know not everybody can get.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that.
I know not everybody is capable of taking time off work as America, like a lot of us live like paycheck to paycheck. A lot of us don't have health insurance. A lot of us don't have health insurance that'll cover a doctor's visit, let alone a coronavirus test. But like, if you feel sick, try to take time off. Try to see a doctor. Yeah.
Oh man, that just god, that brought up another thing. God, I can't time.
Yeah.
Like I've seen articles about companies that are like making an exception to like let employees like not, I guess, making them get in trouble if they take off for like the coronavirus or if they're sick. And it's like, why are we applauding them for doing like the bare minimum? Like that should be like the standard.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, like
if you're sick, you shouldn't be at work. Like that should just
like I said,
God.
our society is not set up to handle a mass viral pandemic. It's just not.
Yeah.
And now everybody's starting to see that. Let's see. So, we'll see what.
One could hope maybe somehow this will be a blessing in disguise. That maybe at the end of this is what it takes for companies to realize, like, oh, maybe we should actually have like paid sick leave and,
So you want to know what's really funny? I keep saying funny, but it's not funny, but it's funny. So do you know what AIPAC is? They're a lobbyist for the Israeli government. And they have this big conference every year in DC where 2/3 of Congress will attend. And it turns out 2 of the people who attended AIPAC this year were confirmed to have coronavirus. And from what I heard, a lot of the people who attended AIPAC who weren't like congressmen, they came to the Capitol Hill afterwards. And like I said, coronavirus is most deadly in people over the age of 65. And most people sitting in Congress are over the age of 65.
Yes. They've been there for 80 years.
So there is a decent chance that there is a congressman or woman right now who has coronavirus. Maybe they don't show the symptoms, but they might have it like on their body or something. So everybody's affected. Yay.
Yeah.
But beyond that, Sensei, what reach into the vault that is your mind, and what fights would you recommend to the audience for this week?
All right, I was struggling with my fight recommendations. I forgot that I made this a thing that I'm supposed to write down. But I reached into my bag, going into my Thai bag, my Muay Thai bag. This is actually a very recent fight. I believe it is still up on YouTube. It is a Muay Thai fight between Rodtang, which if you listen to this podcast, you better know who Rodtang is. We only talk about him like every time he fights and won. But Rodtang had a Muay Thai fight against a gentleman named Kaonar, that's spelled Kaonar, PK Sainchai Muay Thai Gym. You know how they do with the last names. But it was a Muay Thai fight that took place within like the last month or two, I want to say. One of the rare times, I say rare, doesn't happen that often, but one of the times you'll see Rodtang lose. But don't let that deter you from watching the fight. It was still a really good fight. And I've been trying to get more into like watching like actual like legit Muay Thai fights. And it has like just a different kind of like feel to it. It's really
a different speed. Like,
yeah.
The scoring system is completely different. There's music blaring in the background.
Right. It almost feels like a cultural, like, it's not party's not the word. It's like
it is like a celebration of sorts.
Yeah, it's something like everybody's like really having like a good time. Like the music just sets like this certain kind of vibe. Meanwhile, 2 dudes are in a ring just kicking the crap out of each other and getting elbowed. But like it's a really different feel from watching like an MMA fight or a boxing fight. Like it just has a different feel to it. But it was a really good fight. Kaonar But that was one of the. I've never really seen anybody like kind of manhandle or Rodtang like that. He swept him and took him down a lot of times, and it was really physical. He landed some really nasty elbows on Rodtang. But no, it was a fun fight, man. Pure, just straight up like actual Muay Thai fight. It was February 27th, at least according to Wiki. So like I said, really, really recent fight. Go give that a watch. Get some Muay Thai in your life. So that is Rodtang versus Kaonar. Once again, that is spelled Kaonar. So go give that a watch. Should be on YouTube.
Yep. So like we mentioned multiple times now, it's Women's Month and International Women's Day. So I have a fight trilogy for you. Layla McCarter, Melissa Hernandez, arguably the best trilogy in all of women's boxing. Layla McCarter is still out here, actually. This is funny. But like these fights happened like over a decade ago. But if you want a absolute good afternoon of just like sitting back and watching some like tremendous fights, go YouTube, go look up Melissa Hernandez and Layla McCarter, both world champions. Just slug it out for 36 rounds. So that's one recommendation. I was going to recommend Stoliarenko versus Verzosa. Yeah, I still am, but we talked about that. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. If you did not watch the one card from last week, just so we can fit in some kickboxing, go watch Janet Todd versus Stamp Fairtex 2. That was a really good one. What else do we have on the docket? Joanna Jedrzejczyk has been called has been called boring in the past, which is wild to me because she's in like three of the greatest UFC title fights and women's fights I've ever seen. Her fight with Namajunas, this one with Weili Zhang. But if you have not seen it before, go watch her rematch for the title with Claudia Gadelha.
Which I ironically just searched. It's not on the UFC channel, but it is on somebody's channel. So you can go watch it.
If you don't have Fight Pass, I'm sure there's like a million, or not a million, but there's other means to watching the fight. But it is a absolute classic. I think it happened the same year that Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler 2 happened, or Robert Whittaker Romero, and I can't remember which one, but I think that's the only reason I didn't have it in my fight of the year. So like if you haven't seen it already, and I can't imagine many of you haven't seen it. If you listen to a podcast that's primarily about Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk, if we're being honest. Go give it a watch because it is another absolute classic. So there's a whole bunch of there's some homework for you guys.
There you go. Do all that homework before we come back next month. Go watch every women's fight ever.
Yeah, there's your answer. Go watch all the fights.
Go to Fight Pass. Start at Invicta FC 1. Just work your way up. Then you gotta go to boxing. By the time we start recording next month, hopefully you've gotten through a good bit of it. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's episode. Any quick closing thoughts before we get out of here?
God. I'm gonna steal from Joey. Be good to people, y'all. Don't treat people like shit. Order Chinese food, damn it. Like, stop being racist.
Like, you better get that General Tso's chicken. Y'all are bugging if y'all depriving yourself of some orange chicken. Get your life right. I'll just echo what I said earlier. Be clean. Be what's the word? Have good hygiene. Just wash your hands. Soap, water. And don't do the quick mini wash where you just like splat it on for like 2 seconds. Like, give yourself a nice, you know, quality washing of the hands. Like, you know, just be sanitary. Be sanitary. Be safe out there. And I didn't get to mention this. I almost was going to bring this up during my What's in Your Mind. I'll just give it a quick shout out. Play that Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. It's great.
Ooh, yo, I am. Like, I haven't been sold on a Final Fantasy VII remake. Like, I've been following along, but like that I watched the demo. I didn't get a chance to play it.
That demo heat. That demo is
It's heat, and Jesse is
Just
not
the-
the best character in Final Fantasy.
Oh, God. But just to correlate this back to us, if you follow me on Twitch at Serial Sensei, I did play it and I streamed it. I actually played the demo twice because I had such a good time. That video should still be up on my channel because I think Twitch doesn't erase things for like a week or so. So if you want to see it, you can watch me play it on my Twitch stream, Twitch TV at Serial Sensei. But yeah, go play that Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. I'm not even a Final Fantasy fan like that. That demo is heat. That demo is fire. That's all we got for today. So once again, you give this podcast a listen. SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that good stuff. Send questions to dototalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on social media at the Doto Talk Podcast Facebook page and Instagram page. And follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei and Twitch. Follow the Theanticool on Twitter at GCZeus. We will see you guys next month for UFC 249. Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Knock on wood that happens. And I'm going to go see it in the theater because my local theater is playing it. So that's my plan. But we will see you guys then. So until next time, as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. Until next time, we will catch you guys later.